My sil tried to force us to pay for her luxury lifestyle, then found out she's having her married boss's baby. Now she's using the child to blackmail everyone. I'm Sarah, 32F, and I've been married to Mark, 35M, for 5 years. We met in college where I was studying accounting and he was doing his MBA. After graduation, we both landed good jobs in the same city and decided to settle down there. We bought a nice house in the suburbs 2 years ago and have been enjoying our life together. Mark has a younger sister, Emma, 28F, who's always been a bit of a wild card. I first met Emma at a family dinner when Mark and I had just started dating. She was 21 then, in her 3rd year of college, studying fashion design. Even then, I could see how different she was from Mark. While he was responsible and hardworking, Emma seemed more interested in partying and having fun. Growing up, Emma was the golden child of the family. Being the youngest and the only girl, their parents doted on her, giving her everything she wanted. Mark often told me stories about how Emma would throw tantrums if she didn't get her way, and their parents would always cave in. This led to her becoming quite entitled and irresponsible as an adult. After college, Emma struggled to find a job in the fashion industry. She jumped from one internship to another, never staying long enough to gain real experience. She'd always quit because the work was beneath her or she didn't like her boss. Meanwhile, she was living in an expensive apartment in the city, courtesy of her parents. Mark and I have always had a strained relationship with Emma. From the beginning, she made it clear that she didn't approve of me. She'd make snide comments about my appearance and background. I come from a working-class family, implying I wasn't good enough for her brother. Once, at a family barbecue, she accidentally spilled red wine on my white dress, and then laughed it off as a clumsy mistake. Emma's also tried to guilt Mark into giving her money multiple times. She'd call him crying about how she couldn't pay her rent or how she needed money for a career-changing fashion course. Mark refused most of the time, which led to big arguments between them. Last Christmas, things came to a head when Emma showed up with a brand new designer bag that we knew cost thousands of dollars. When Mark questioned how she could afford it when she had been asking us for rent money just a week before, she brushed it off saying it was a sample from a fashion show she worked on. We later found out from their cousin that Emma had maxed out 3 credit cards to buy it. Last week, Emma called Mark in tears. She'd been fired from her latest job, as a social media manager for a small fashion brand, and couldn't afford her rent anymore. She begged Mark to let her move in with us just for a few months until she could find a new job. Mark was torn. Despite everything, he cares about his sister and felt guilty about leaving her homeless. But he also knew how difficult Emma could be to live with. He asked for my opinion, and I was firm in my refusal. I reminded Mark of all the times Emma had caused problems for us. There was the time she borrowed my car without asking and returned it with an empty tank and a dent. Or the time she stayed with us for a weekend and left the guest room in such a mess that we had to deep clean the carpets. Not to mention all the drama she causes at family gatherings with her attention-seeking behavior. I told Mark that letting Emma move in would be a disaster. She'd never leave, she'd disrupt our peaceful home life, and she'd probably try to drive a wedge between us. I also pointed out that Emma needed to learn to stand on her own 2 feet. At 28, it was time for her to take responsibility for her life and stop relying on others to bail her out. Mark agreed with me, and we called Emma back to tell her that we couldn't accommodate her. She exploded, calling us selfish and heartless. She accused me of turning her brother against her and said I'd always been jealous of her. She even threatened to tell their parents that we were abandoning her in her time of need. We stood our ground, but now Mark is feeling guilty. His parents have been calling nonstop, telling him he needs to help his sister. They've even offered to pay us to let Emma stay with us, which I find insulting. It's not about the money, it's about setting boundaries and not enabling Emma's irresponsible behavior. I don't think we're in the wrong here. Emma is an adult who needs to learn to stand on her own 2 feet. She's had plenty of chances and support from her family, but she's never taken advantage of it to improve her situation. Instead, she's always looking for the easy way out. But the family pressure is intense, and I can see it's wearing on Mark. His mom keeps sending him childhood photos of him and Emma, trying to guilt him into changing his mind. His dad, who's usually more reasonable, has been leaving voicemails about how family should always come first. I'm standing firm in my decision, but I'm worried about the long-term effects this might have on our relationship with Mark's family. Emma has always been good at playing the victim and manipulating situations to her advantage. I'm afraid she might use this to turn the whole family against us. Mark and I have always been a team, facing challenges together. But this situation is testing our unity. I can see the conflict in Mark's eyes every time his phone rings with another call from his parents. He agrees with me logically, but emotionally, he's struggling with the idea of not helping his little sister. We've thought about alternatives. We offered to help Emma look for a more affordable apartment or even pay for a month at an extended stay hotel to give her time to find a job. But she rejected these offers, saying she needed to be with family during this difficult time. I've also suggested that Emma reach out to some of her friends for help. She's always posting photos on social media of her nights out with her squad, so surely one of them could offer her a couch to crash on. But according to Emma, none of them have the space or are in a position to help. The whole situation is causing tension between Mark and me. We've never argued much before, but now we find ourselves snapping at each other over small things. The stress of the situation is affecting other areas of our lives too. I've been distracted at work and Mark has been having trouble sleeping. I've tried to put myself in Emma's shoes. I know losing a job can be stressful, and I understand the fear of not being able to pay rent. But I also believe that at some point, you have to take responsibility for your own life. Emma has had so many chances to get her act together, but she squandered them all. Part of me wonders if we're being too harsh. Maybe if we let Emma stay with us, we could help her get back on her feet. We could set ground rules, help her budget her money, and support her in finding a new job. But then I remember all the broken promises and the drama she's caused in the past, and I know it would be a mistake. I'm also concerned about our own future. Mark and I have been talking about starting a family soon. How would having Emma in our house affect those plans? Would we be putting our lives on hold to cater to her needs? Am I the asshole for refusing to let my sister-in-law move in with us? Are we wrong for wanting to maintain our peace and not get dragged into Emma's chaos? Or are we failing in our family duties by not helping her in her time of need? I'm looking for some outside perspective on this situation. It's hard to see things clearly when you're in the middle of family drama. Any advice or opinions would be greatly appreciated. Update 1, 2 weeks later. Thank you all for your support and advice on my last post. A lot has happened in the past 2 weeks, and I wanted to give you an update on the situation with Emma. After my last post, the situation escalated quickly. Emma started showing up at our house unannounced, sometimes late at night, begging us to let her stay. The first time it happened, it was around 11 p.m. on a Tuesday. We were getting ready for bed when we heard loud knocking on our door. When we opened it, Emma was standing there with a suitcase, mascara running down her face from crying. We let her in that night because we didn't want to leave her out in the cold, but we made it clear it was just for one night. The next morning, we had to practically force her to leave. She tried every trick in the book, crying, pleading, even threatening to hurt herself if we abandoned her. This pattern continued for several days. Emma would show up, we'd reluctantly let her stay the night, and then we'd have to deal with the drama of getting her to leave in the morning. It was exhausting and started to affect our daily lives. I was constantly on edge, worried about when she'd show up next. The final straw came when Emma showed up drunk at 2 a.m. on a work night, banging on our door and yelling loud enough to wake the neighbors. We had to call the police to remove her from our property. It was a horrible, embarrassing scene that left us shaken. After that incident, Mark was really struggling with guilt. He kept saying things like, maybe we're being too harsh and she's still my little sister. I could see he was torn between his love for his sister and the logical realization that her behavior was unacceptable. We decided to compromise. We offered to pay for a month's stay at an extended stay hotel for Emma, giving her time to find a new job and living situation. We thought this was a generous offer that would help her without disrupting our lives. We even offered to help her job hunt and create a budget. Emma initially accepted, seeming grateful. We helped her move into the hotel, bought her some groceries, and felt good about our decision. But things took a turn for the worse after she moved in. It started with social media posts. Emma began posting about how we had abandoned her to live in a roach-infested motel. It was actually a nice, clean place. She tagged us in these posts, and some of our friends and coworkers saw them. It was embarrassing having to explain the situation to people who only knew one side of the story. Then, Emma started calling Mark's workplace. She'd leave messages with his secretary about how he was neglecting his family duties. His boss pulled him aside to ask if everything was okay at home. Mark was mortified and angry. He works for a conservative firm where family reputation matters, and Emma's actions were putting his professional reputation at risk. The final straw came when Emma somehow got hold of my parents' contact information. My parents live in another state and have only met Emma a couple of times at family events. Emma called them, spinning a tale about how I was abusing Mark and turning him against his family. She told them I was jealous of her relationship with Mark and was trying to cut her out of his life. My parents, knowing what Emma is like from the stories I've told them, didn't believe her. But they were upset that she would go to such lengths. They called me, worried about the whole situation and how it was affecting us. We've now blocked Emma on all platforms and have told Mark's parents that we won't be discussing her with them anymore. They're upset, claiming we're overreacting and that Emma is just going through a tough time. But we feel it's necessary for our mental health. Mark is finally seeing Emma for who she really is. He's hurt and angry, but also relieved that we didn't let her move in. We're looking into getting a restraining order if her behavior continues. It's a drastic step, but we feel we need to protect ourselves. This whole situation has been incredibly stressful, but it's brought Mark and me closer together. We're united in our decision and supporting each other through the family drama. I'm proud of Mark for standing his ground despite the pressure from his parents and the emotional manipulation from Emma. We're still dealing with the fallout from Emma's actions. Some family members have taken her side, believing her version of events. We've had to distance ourselves from those relatives for now. It's sad, but we feel it's necessary to maintain our mental health and the stability of our relationship. On a positive note, this situation has made us appreciate the stability and peace we have in our lives. We've started talking more seriously about our future plans, including the possibility of starting a family. We both agree that we want to create a home environment that's loving and drama-free for our future children. We're also taking steps to protect ourselves legally and financially. We've spoken to a lawyer about the possibility of a restraining order against Emma if her behavior escalates further. We've also frozen our credit and changed all our passwords, just in case Emma tries to retaliate by attempting to access our accounts. Mark's relationship with his parents is strained right now. They're still pressuring him to help Emma, not understanding that their enabling behavior is part of the problem. We're hoping that with time, they'll see that tough love is what Emma needs to get her life together. As for Emma, we don't know what she's doing now. The month we paid for at the extended stay hotel is almost up, and we've made it clear we won't be extending it. Part of me worries about where she'll go, but I keep reminding myself that she's an adult who needs to take responsibility for her own life. This whole ordeal has been a harsh lesson in setting boundaries and the importance of standing firm in our decisions. It's not easy, especially when family is involved, but sometimes it's necessary for everyone's well-being. Thank you all again for your support and advice. It really helped us stay strong through this ordeal. We're hopeful that things will calm down soon, but we're prepared for whatever comes next. Update 2 months later, I wish I had better news to share, but things have only gotten more complicated since my last update. About a month ago, we received some shocking news that changed everything. It turns out that Emma wasn't fired from her job, she quit. And the reason she quit is because she's pregnant. She's about 4 months along now, and the father is her married boss. When the company found out about the affair, they offered Emma a hefty sum to sign an NDA and leave quietly. She took the money, but instead of using it responsibly, she blew through it in a matter of weeks on a luxury baby moon trip to the Maldives. We found this out because Emma's ex-coworker, feeling guilty about the whole situation, reached out to Mark to tell him the truth. She also revealed that Emma had been bad-mouthing us to everyone at her former workplace, painting herself as the victim of cruel, uncaring relatives. When confronted with this information, Emma broke down and admitted everything. She showed up at our door again, this time visibly pregnant, begging for our help. She said she had nowhere else to turn, that her friends had abandoned her when they found out about the affair, and that she was scared to tell her parents about the pregnancy. Mark was furious about the lies and manipulation, but he was also worried about the baby, his future niece or nephew. I could see the conflict in his eyes. On one hand, Emma had lied to us repeatedly and tried to ruin our reputations. On the other hand, she was family and there was an innocent child involved. We were at a loss about what to do. We spent several days discussing our options, arguing, and trying to figure out the best course of action. Mark was leaning towards letting Emma stay with us, at least until the baby was born. I was hesitant, remembering all the drama and stress from before. After much discussion, Mark and I decided to offer Emma a conditional olive branch. We told her we would help her find a small apartment, and pay the security deposit if she agreed to attend financial management classes and look for a job. We made it clear that this was a one-time offer and that any future help would depend on her behavior and efforts to become more responsible. Emma reluctantly agreed, but I can tell she's not happy about the conditions. She's been making passive-aggressive comments about how we're controlling her and how she knows what's best for her baby. She's also been hinting that she expects us to help with childcare once the baby is born, which we haven't agreed to. We helped Emma move into a small, affordable apartment near us. We paid the security deposit and the first month's rent, and helped her set up a budget for her remaining money from the NDA settlement. We also signed her up for financial management classes at the local community center and gave her information about job search resources for pregnant women. Mark's parents found out about the pregnancy and the whole situation with Emma's former boss. They were shocked and disappointed, but their solution was to suggest that Emma move in with them. We had to explain why we thought that wasn't a good idea, which led to more arguments and tension. Now, Mark's parents are overjoyed that we're helping Emma, but they think we should do more. They've been pressuring us to let Emma move in with us after the baby is born just for a few months. We're standing firm in our refusal, but it's causing tension. They think we're being cruel by not opening our home to a new mother and baby. I'm worried about what the future holds. Will Emma follow through on her end of the bargain? How will she manage as a single mother? And how will this affect our relationship with Mark's family in the long run? Emma has already missed one of her financial management classes, claiming she was too tired from the pregnancy. I'm concerned this is a sign of things to come. This situation has opened up a whole new can of worms, and I'm not sure how it's all going to play out. But Mark and I are trying to stay united and do what we think is best, even if it's not making everyone happy. We're committed to supporting Emma in becoming more responsible and independent, but we're also determined to maintain our boundaries. The stress of the situation has been taking its toll on us. Mark and I have been arguing more frequently, usually about how much support we should be giving Emma. We've decided to start seeing a couples counselor to help us navigate this challenging time and ensure our relationship stays strong. We're also dealing with the emotional impact of knowing we're going to be an aunt and uncle soon. Despite all the drama, there's a part of us that's excited about the baby. We've started discussing how we want to be involved in the child's life, while still maintaining healthy boundaries with Emma. As for Emma's ex-boss and the father of her child, we've learned he's trying to keep everything quiet to protect his marriage and career. He's offered Emma a monthly stipend for child support, but only if she agrees to keep his identity secret. Emma is considering taking the offer, which worries me. I'm concerned about the long-term implications of such an arrangement. This situation has opened up a whole new can of worms, and I'm not sure how it's all going to play out. But Mark and I are trying to stay united and do what we think is best, even if it's not making everyone happy. Update 3, 6 months later. It's been a roller coaster these past few months, and I wanted to give you all a final update on the situation with Emma. Emma gave birth to a healthy baby boy 2 months ago. Despite our reservations, Mark and I went to the hospital to meet our nephew. It was a bittersweet moment, joy at meeting the baby mixed with anxiety about what the future would hold. Unfortunately, our worst fears about Emma's behavior came true. She refused to look for a job, claiming she needed to focus on the baby. She also didn't attend the financial management classes we had arranged for her. Instead, she started demanding more money from us and Mark's parents, saying she needed it for the baby. Things came to a head when we discovered that Emma had been using the money we gave her for baby supplies to buy designer baby clothes and unnecessary luxury items for herself. She had also been letting her new boyfriend, a guy with a sketchy past she met at a bar, stay in the apartment we were paying for. We confronted Emma about this, and she flew into a rage. She accused us of trying to control her life and threatened to cut us off from seeing the baby if we didn't give her what she wanted. It was clear that she hadn't changed at all and was now using her child as a bargaining chip. During this confrontation, Emma revealed that she had been in contact with her ex-boss, the baby's father. Apparently, he had been secretly visiting her and the baby, despite his agreement to stay away. Emma was now threatening to expose their affair unless he increased the child support payments. After a long, emotional discussion, Mark and I made the difficult decision to stop enabling Emma's behavior. We told her that we would no longer be providing financial support, but that we would be there for our nephew if she ever needed help specifically for him. Emma didn't take this well. She's been badmouthing us to the entire family, claiming we're abandoning her and the baby. She's even gone as far as to suggest that Mark isn't really her brother, hinting at some non-existent family secret. Mark's parents are divided. His mom thinks we're being cruel, while his dad is starting to see the pattern of Emma's behavior. They're still providing some financial support to Emma, but even they are getting frustrated with her constant demands and manipulation. We've decided to go low contact with Emma for now. We've made it clear that we love our nephew and want to be part of his life, but we won't be manipulated or blackmailed. We're also encouraging Mark's parents to stop enabling Emma's behavior, but it's an uphill battle. On a more positive note, Mark and I have grown stronger through this ordeal. We've learned to communicate better and stand united in the face of family pressure. We've also realized the importance of setting and maintaining boundaries, even with family. We're focusing on our own lives now. We've started trying for a baby of our own, and we're excited about the future. We're also working on rebuilding relationships with other family members who were caught in the crossfire of this drama. This whole experience has been emotionally draining, but it's also taught us valuable lessons about family, responsibility, and the importance of standing up for what we believe is right. While I'm sad about the strain on family relationships, I know we did what was best for us and, in the long run, what will hopefully be best for Emma and her child. Looking back, I don't regret our decision not to let Emma move in with us. If anything, these past months have shown us that it was the right call. While we couldn't control Emma's choices, we could control our response to them. We chose not to enable her behavior, even when it was difficult. Thank you all for your support throughout this journey. Your advice and encouragement have been invaluable. While this chapter of drama is closing, I know we'll be dealing with the repercussions for years to come. But Mark and I are ready to face whatever comes our way, together.